Hello everyone, and welcome to Age Friendly Chelmsford. This is Deb Suriani, the director at the Chelmsford Senior Center and the co-chair of the Age Friendly Committee. And we also have Lisa Maroney, our co-host, the business development director in town.
Hi, Debbie.
Good to have you, Lisa.
Here
We're
we go
off and
again.
running.
We're going to have another
and we
good
have
episode.
a great guest. We have Steve Callaghan from Facilities, and Steve is the Parks and Playground Coordinator. So, Steve, tell us a little bit about your job and what you do here.
I wear, happy to be here, folks. I wear quite a few hats, but my focus is on the safety of the playgrounds for the children. And also, for the summer, I actually am involved with both beaches. Mm-hmm. So we have Vonnie and we also have Hot Pond. Mm-hmm. And I'm the liaison with the YMCA, which are the lifeguards. So that's just a couple of the jobs. In the winter, I actually plow. I become sort of like a DPW highway, and I plow I have a route here off of Stedman Street, actually, if you want to put a complaint in.
No complaints.
And there's all kinds of little things. We adapt and adjust. We, as DPW, is very versatile, and so you never know when you come in the morning what you're going to be doing.
Mm-hmm. And which hat you're wearing.
And which hat you're wearing.
So Steve also wears the hat of being on the age-friendly committee. So he is in charge or assists with outdoor spaces and buildings. And so tell us a little bit about what you focus on with the committee.
Well, with open space, for me, there's a lot of people involved with open space. So I work with folks like Bill Askenberg and Phil Stanway down at Hot Pond, and I just try great volunteers, really great,
Super.
And I help them when they run into a problem that they need either the police or they need some help from the DPW. I help make that happen for them. I am mostly on playgrounds and playground safety, but I do dip into that. For instance, if you go up to Roberts Field, and Deb just mentioned age-friendly. If you haven't been up there, you really should go up there because it's very age-friendly at this point. Yeah. There's benches, and there's a great playground. We're going to be adding on to that playground again next year. We're going to put some more pieces in. And it's just a great place. The fields, both baseball fields are active now, along with a lacrosse field in the front of the field. So that's just a few things. There's so much going on in town. Yep. I only know a little bit of it. There's other people very involved with open space.
Well, I'm very grateful that you came on to the committee. I think that you've been on a couple years now. I've kind of lost track of time, but really appreciate you finding time to be a part of the committee for Age Friendly. And it seems that a lot of your updates, when we meet once a month on the last Wednesday, a lot of your updates are really very relevant to helping the community to be age-friendly, livable for all ages, as well as what we chatted about a little bit ago, that as the playgrounds and open spaces are ensured safe for the children, it's equally applicable for people of older ages too.
Yeah, one of the things we do is when, for instance, with a playground, we always look at the ADA component. So that's one thing that we're actually doing is, if you get the ADA component, if you have the right paths and ramps and things like that, you also get age-friendly. So all different ages, we just talked about this earlier before we went on the air, 2 to 80, we try to cover that with everything new that we put in.
Yeah, so there's a theory that's basically called 8 to 80, and if you're designing something, an outdoor space or an indoor space, you want to think about someone who's 8 years old and someone who's 80 years old and design it for the whole span of, basically if you're thinking about those two groups, then you'll generally make it friendly for everybody. So for instance, if we're talking about adding a little bit of shade for someone who's 80, well, also, the mom or a dad with a baby in a carriage might need a little extra shade. So it's about making the space comfortable for everybody and accessible to everyone, right?
Yes,
So I mean, you've
absolutely.
done a lot with us about that. Here are some of the talking points that Lisa put together about what makes a space age-friendly according to our AARP guidelines, right? They have like guidelines for all of these domains that we talk about. And so let's go over some of those. First, we want to ensure that the outdoor space is safe and secure, that the environments in public spaces are safe and secure. So for instance, I think you all put videos in at Varney, didn't you? Video cameras?
Yeah, the security cameras. Well, there's one example of that is good for the new playground that's there. Is we put a fence in, which basically is a barrier between the playground and the water.
Nice.
So that would be making it safer, so the children don't just wander off out of the playground and go into the water. So that would be a safety. And there are several cameras.
Wonderful.
You are correct.
Wonderful.
Security cameras.
Right, right. Excellent, because all those troublemaking seniors show up there, and you got to watch them and keep an eye on them.
Well, I think, when grandparents are trying to enjoy time with little ones, they run pretty quick, those little ones. So it's really helpful to make sure that when you go to an open space or outdoor places, that you know that you can just enjoy that time with the people that you're with and not worry about tripping hazards or the fencing, or being able to make it accessible for all types of people. And I think that's a little bit where that point came from, was just, Steve is there to ensure that each area of town and all the open spaces are safe and secure, so you can just go and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And for instance, we were working on a garden I'll tell you more about in a little bit, but we were going to put edging, and I thought, nope, that's a tripping hazard.
yeah.
Somebody's going to trip on that, and I'm going to have a paperwork to do. I mean, I really care about the person. So I mean, we wanted to make sure that, that we think about those things
Right,
when we're
yeah.
designing spaces.
And like
for
a
folks.
path, you like to have 60 inches of wide, so you can have two wheelchairs actually pass, and that's an ADA compliance. So we do that with the playgrounds and with paths and things like that in town also.
We have a lot of seniors now who are actually taking care of their grandchildren too. There are support groups we can put you together with at the senior center if you give us a call. But there are resources, a group called Grandparents Parenting Grandchildren, or sorry, grandparents as parents. Anyways, there are support groups for that as well. So
And there's
we
quite a
can
bit of
connect
that.
folks.
In the
Yeah.
morning when we're doing our rounds, there's quite a bit of grandparents that are supervising children.
Thank goodness. I know that helps us a lot, when I had twins and my parents were around and just
It's really important.
So
It's
important
very
for a family
important.
to be able to function that way. So let's see, cleanliness and void of hazards, tripping and otherwise. We already talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Cleaning the playgrounds is also part of your job, unfortunately, right?
Yeah,
Which isn't as fun.
yeah, not so much. I was just up at Varney.
Or you supervise people who
Yeah,
keep it clean,
yeah.
is
Well,
what I meant.
we have a cleaning service just for the months for the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I was just actually meeting with them today, so they start today,
Okay.
and that's better. They clean it than I clean it.
That's true, absolutely. Inspecting and
Double check.
maintaining pavement, walkways, pedestrian crossings.
That would be DPW Highway.
Yeah.
They do quite a bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of effort going on to make sure.
Yes.
Now, you may not see it happening all the time, but you're out there early,
Yeah.
right? What time does your day
In fact,
start?
right, my day starts at 7, but
Yeah.
Highway's out there at 6:30.
Checking things and
And yeah, in
Making
fact,
sure.
they're working on the parade route right now.
oh, yeah,
Yeah, the highway has
Yeah.
started working on the parade
making
route.
sure that
So,
everything's
for instance, one of the things that the town's done for years that helps something more age-friendly is in front of the CCA, the Center for the Arts, they usually have a shade
Oh.
place put up and chairs, and it's meant for just for seniors to be able to access, easy parking and getting into the space and being able to see the parade in a safe place.
Yeah.
In that, I was in on that meeting about the parade, and that is happening. They
That's
are going to
great.
have the shade structure. They are going to have the seats.
While we're talking about the parade, the 3rd of July, the country fair, I'll be there. And
I'll be there.
we'll be. You'll be there. You'll probably be there. I don't know. You're taking the day off finally, for once. And so the senior center is going to have not only a booth, but also a bench, and we are using an age-friendly. We stole an idea from the internet, and it's called the Happy to Chat bench. And so what we have is just a really nice bench, and it'll say "Happy to Chat." Sit here if you'd like to chat with anybody, and then we'll have
Nice.
little conversation cards, and they just have questions, things that you can talk about with your grandparents.
Yeah, it helps start
and it really is, you can
conversations.
talk about with anybody.
Yeah.
And it's just to ensure that nobody feels alone. So everybody who's there can make a friend. And so we're going to have the Happy to Chat bench, and that's an
sounds
age-friendly idea that
Yeah,
we
that
stole
sounds fun.
from some other towns that had done it. So that's one thing we're doing. So right now, I'd love to cut to a piece that we filmed prior to this, and it's about a space we're creating at the Senior Center called the Sensory Garden. And it's on the side of the Senior Center. If you're looking at it from the front, it's on the right, so over near Sheila Ave. And so we'll just cut to that, and then we'll come back and chat a little bit about it. Hello, this is Debbie Suriani from the Chelmsford Senior Center. I'm welcoming you to our Sensory Garden. It's on the side yard of the Chelmsford Senior Center, but it's open to all. It's inspired by Steve Flynn, who was a Council on Aging member and a town meeting rep. And when he passed away a few years ago, his family and many people from town donated to the Senior Center, and this is all paid for by those donated funds. So it's a sensory garden. As you can hear, we have chimes. You can see beautiful flowers. Demers Landscaping did this beautiful walkway for us, which is ADA compliant, and they also donated some of the mulch. This here is going to be a little reading bench, so somebody can sit here. We'll be adding a lending library, and I bought lots of books with grandparents from all kinds of different cultures, so you can come and sit here and read by yourself or to your grandkids. We've got beautiful plants added. April Hunt from our staff has added a lot of work to this. She's the planting person for me. I just buy the stuff. We've got gorgeous grasses and whiskey barrels. And over here we have a little herb garden with eucalyptus, and we have basil, 2 kinds of basil, and lemon balm. It smells so good. So we're adding little aspects to it all the time, and we welcome you to add your ideas to it. Let us know, and we welcome you to come and visit it. Thank you so much. Have a great day. So that was, I didn't know what we were filming that day, so I was like, not as quite as put together. But it was a beautiful day, and we are, what'd you think about the space so far?
I thought it was fantastic, so much more than you realize, because you don't necessarily see it from the front, and when you showed the film, it's really great. You've done a lot of work back there.
And you have the ADA compliance.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We
I
do.
thought that
Well, we
way.
worked with the town to make sure that we did so, and then Demers Landscaping helped us out. And while we were there, we realized that the raised bed gardens next door had like big rocks, not bigger, but like larger
Stones, yeah.
stones as part of their, walking area. And I said, I have a little extra budget at the end of the fiscal year, would you mind doing that too? So they did that yesterday.
Nice.
And now that area is ADA compliant around those raised bed gardens.
And are those vegetable gardens, the raised bed
Yes.
ones? Yeah.
So that was something we added. It was before I showed up 11 years ago as director, and it was a Boy Scout project. And I think it was Matthew Chamberlain. There's a little plaque there.
Yeah.
And it was a Boy Scout project, an Eagle Scout project. And during COVID, we added a few more in the front of the senior center, but it was a really quick little project. I just ordered them from Amazon, so they're little raised beds. But Phil Stanway's helping me to add the large ones with a Boy Scout troop this year. So we'll be
Excellent.
adding that as well. So there'll be really nice raised bed gardens. And what we do is a lottery every year on Earth Day. We have an Earth Day luncheon, and then we have a little lottery where anyone who's 60 and over, Chelmsford resident, or a regular volunteer at the senior center can put their name in a hat, and whoever gets picked out first gets, the little raised bed gardens for the season. And the nice thing is they can grow their own fresh stuff. They like to share it inside too, so we have a little
Nice.
table usually with fresh veggies that
Nice.
people are sharing. And then, if somebody's moved into an apartment or the housing and they don't have a garden anymore, it's a great way for someone to have like an accessible
Yeah.
way. And then during COVID, it was a big deal because we didn't have activities inside for a while, and we wanted to add more opportunities for people to be social.
Right. Right.
And so if any of you are at the community gardens, Steve, you could probably tell a little bit more about the community gardens than I could. I haven't been there very much. Have you?
Yeah, actually this year.
No, I haven't.
I was there. We brought in a landscaping company to do a bunch of work there.
Yeah.
Stony Brook actually came in and did a bunch of work. So I think the DPW has taken over some of the responsibility of that.
Congratulations.
Those gardens can take over and
Another
we need
hat.
to bring in professional help.
It's funny you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I was there.
But it's important because it's a wonderful place for
It is.
folks of all ages to meet each other and to have those social connections.
Yeah, it means more than just the produce that comes from the garden.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it, a purpose, a reason to go out and be involved in something as a group effort. And I think that gardening is a great way to enjoy the great outside. But also when I was listening to the two of you talking, through COVID, we always value the outdoors, but through COVID, we really learned how very much important it is to be able to go outside. And it became one of the primary ways of how people coped with COVID was to be able to go out into the open space and, stay 6 feet apart, but still, be able to continue to find some enjoyable things to do.
We had chair exercise in our parking lot for a long time in the mornings.
But we've never been busier with the playgrounds and the exercise equipment and we've in the open spaces. We've never been more busy now than ever. Because people, I think, do have an appreciation.
New value
which they
for
didn't
that.
have. It just didn't have it before. They have it now.
Yeah.
That's one of the positive things from
One of
COVID.
the-
I mean, if we,
Yeah.
if we
Right.
had to take
Yeah.
something good from it, I mean, that's wonderful. And that creates community. Because then when we have difficult times like COVID or, emergency situations, or folks who are just getting older and are isolated, that there are ways for people to connect. And then when they need help, they say, "Oh, can you help me with this?"
Right. Yeah.
Neighbors know each other now,
Yeah,
because
right.
they're outside. So, I mean, that's the beauty of what happened is we were able to turn it around
Yeah.
and take something good from it. And I loved that.
And the outdoor spaces, like you had said, just makes a healthier community.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
And there's plenty of safe places where people can meet up at the different
Yeah,
playgrounds.
there's
or
14
the
playgrounds,
recreations.
and there's several places for exercise.
Yeah.
And we've got the walking trail around Roberts Field / Friendship Park. The
And
grass
the
has come in.
the bike trail is
bike trail is
huge
awesome.
success.
Yeah.
And they've elongated it. I don't know what phase they're on now, and I don't know how far they are, but they're beyond Acton at this point, I
Yeah.
believe. going south.
Is
And
it,
then the other place that saved me and mentally during COVID was the dog park.
Yep.
I mean, that was the only place I could go for a long time,
Yeah.
anywhere, and so at the end of the day, after working at the senior center and being stressed out and stuff, me and Harley would go over to the dog park, and we actually got to like, hi, humans, it was kind of so nice, and
yeah, really important.
it was a big deal.
Is it fair to say
Yeah.
that the 14, are they throughout town, in all different areas of town?
Yeah,
Is that fair to say?
so every school, including the high school, actually has a playground because they run a daycare or the CHIPS program or something is run here. And then we have, on top of that, the public playgrounds like Roberts, Varney, Southwell, Highland soccer fields, and then down south we have Hart Pond and east on Carlisle Street. There's more than you think.
It's a lot.
There's,
That
yeah,
is
there
a
is.
lot. And I know you have future plans. There's always a wish list going. You can
Yeah.
say a little bit about the future.
Yeah, that's a good question. So we're adapting, we're doing some ADA compliance work at both Harrington School this summer and at Parker School where the exercise equipment is. They're both getting ADA compliant surfaces. On top of that, Highland Playground will be replaced later this year. And I know there's other things and I just can't remember them, but we've got quite a bit going on.
One thing that was added at Varney a few years ago was a pickleball court. And if you know
Yes.
senior living right now, pickleball is huge. So folks have really enjoyed the pickleball court. We've hosted pickleball clinics.
Yes.
You've allowed us to use that space scheduled, and the senior center has paid for a coach, a pickleball coach, to come in and teach people what it's all about, how to play it, and just from the beginning. And then we have a pickleball set at the senior center, and when we're open, you're allowed to come by, take it, and use it at the court. So if you want the pickleball set for a full day, just come by the senior center and grab it, or give a call first to make sure nobody else grabbed it first.
Right.
But yeah, we did that. We wanted to make sure people who didn't have their own set could have a set to take over and play with.
That's
So,
great. That's
yeah.
great. I remember
Just
one
little
time,
things.
it just reminds me when we were talking about something else at another time, you had said, don't mess with bingo. Remember that? And I was trying to organize something, and now I think pickleball's probably
Oh, don't mess with
rivaling.
pickleball,
Yeah,
yeah.
don't mess with pickleball
That's
either.
pretty
It's really
serious
important.
stuff.
And
Right.
it's on the powers that be in town. It's on their radar to look at putting more of them in.
Yeah.
They're going to have to figure that out. But
Yeah.
we put the one up at Varney. We put that in. In fact, it was funny when we were putting out the specs for that court. Paul Cohen told me, he says he wants a pickleball court. And I was like, what is pickleball? I'd never heard of it. Right?
to our clinics,
That actually, that lot is very tight for two tennis courts. Really didn't fit in there. So
Yeah.
it was great that we were able to get one good-sized tennis court and the pickleball court. It just gave a nice amount of parking. It fit perfect. And it's funny, I'd never heard of pickleball until Paul Cohen
Wow.
said he wants a pickleball court
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
So-
stick with me. You'll be on the edge of things. You don't know
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
new trends.
So I think they are looking at other courts, and it's going to just take time.
Yeah,
It can't be done overnight.
But when we're talking about for us at the senior center, we're always looking to do activities and programs for people from 60. And all the way up to, we have a lady, 106, who
Wow.
comes in regularly. Hi, Sylvia. and so, it's very different people and very different needs. So we are always trying to look forward to, like, how can we meet the needs of a very active senior, very involved person, or someone who has a lot of needs, physically, and just the whole span of things. So, that's part of what we do, is trying to make sure that the outdoor spaces in town are also accessible to them. So
Yeah.
and everybody. Of
Yeah,
course.
it
You want
adds
it
a
safe
lot
for
of-
the kids. You want it safe for everybody.
Right. Yep.
I love doing that. So that's a wonderful way of designing programs and spaces. Just thinking of everybody and being inclusive. So well, let's see if we have anything else. Oh, the sensory garden. I wanted to say just a little bit more about
Okay.
it. So I always have a little bit more to say, don't I? So we are looking to add some aspects to it. We will have a little fairy garden. I'll be talking to Sandy Rainey about doing a little, what are they called? The rocks, the kindness rocks. Little kindness garden to add to. And so if you have any ideas, let us know, because really what you see out in the community, if you see a need, something that is not as accessible as you'd like to be, or an idea of how to make it more fun for all ages, please let us know, reach out, and we'll put another hat on Steve. No, we'll help take care of it too.
Well, if people travel to other communities and they see something there that, we should be trying here,
Yeah.
all of those types of ideas.
And our shows are, our meetings are open meetings, so we are welcoming you to come to those age-friendly meetings as well on the last Wednesday of every
month, 9 o'clock.
At 9 o'clock
Yep.
on Zoom.
On Zoom.
So let us know.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming out.
Thanks, Steve.
My pleasure.
It was nice to have you.
Okay.
We'll see you around the block.
Yes, you will.
All right. Have a great day,
Lisa and Deb,
everybody.
thank you.
Be well.
Bye-bye.